So let's do what Lenin. This segment will be called What Would Lenin Do? Bing, bing, bing. And today we are going to be reading this really dumb piece from the New York Times, and we will be mocking it the way Lenin would if he were alive. Threats and fears cause Afghan women's protection to vanish overnight. What protection? Seriously, in order for something to vanish, you must have it in the first place. Okay. So, okay, nice pictures from 23. Okay, let's look at the first one. It took years for Women for Afghan Women, trademark, nonprofit NGO, to build up Afghanistan's largest network of women's protection services. Again, largest network of women's protection services in Afghanistan. 32 safe houses, family guidance centers, and children's homes in 14 provinces. That's like having one safe house for every 3 states in America. So Michigan, Ohio, Indiana will have one safe house. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut will have a safe house. That's almost, or maybe one for every 2. New York, New Jersey, one. Connecticut, Rhode Island, one. But that's pathetic. Okay. Growing by word of mouth. That means no one knew about it because they were not advertising it. And driven by the intense need for their services, and that's why there were only 32 of them. Okay. They started closing their door in a matter of days as the Taliban began lighting their advance through Afghan cities on August 6th. Okay, here is the very, very, very shady part. Most of the shelter's directors grabbed or burned records. Why? Packed a few belongings and fled with their clients as a word arrived that the Taliban were coming. Why would you do that? Like, why would you burn? I mean, this is really shady. Very few safe house directors not only affiliated with Women for Afghan Women, but also with a handful of established centers opted to stay where they were but went silent, fearful anything they said could bring harm to the women in their care. Like who? No one is accepting new cases. Okay. Are shelters some nonsense? Okay. So let's, so the founder who's has a lot of, just Google her and you'll see. Even before the Taliban takeover, Afghanistan placed near the bottom of every list when it came to women's protection. In the top in terms for need for safe houses, but apparently there were only 32 of them, counseling and courts, which would keep them safe. Of course, we know that the courts did not keep them safe because I just tweeted out a video where this dad got arrested for going in front of a judge to try to file a case saying that this warlord gang raped his daughter. More than half of all Afghan women reported physical abuse and 17% reported sexual violence, while almost 60% were in forced marriages as opposed to arranged marriages, according to studies cited by the Afghan Ministry of Women's Affairs. And underreporting is rampant. Honor killings, child marriage, payment of bride size, blah, blah, blah. Trading young girl is to pay, that's like child trafficking. Which is tantamount to selling a child into slavery, still occurs in rural areas. Everywhere, harassment of women in workplaces in public is constant, as is psychological abuse, according to recent studies. Let's go down. Okay, as the insurgency advanced, the first concern of the staff of Women for Afghan and other similar shelters was what would the Taliban might do to punish them. Okay, so now let's just, okay, so now it seems like they've only quoted this Women for Afghan Women. I wonder who funds them. Can we figure out who funds them to see if this is a good faith actor or a bad faith actor? Who funds them? Can you bring up that screenshot of who funds them? Oh my God. The US State Department. The same State Department as Zbigniew Brzezinski that funded these psycho highway robbers in the first place. And then, who was Ronald Reagan's Secretary of State? I forgot. Yeah. So clearly, if the State Department really cared about women, they would not have funded the psycho warlords in the 1970s. And so this is like literally US State Department propaganda laundering itself as an article. And the thing is that it's not to say the Taliban are going to be good with women. It's just that having rapey warlords in power for the past 20 years has been terrible for women. And the US has had 20 years now. 63% of the rural women cannot read. In some provinces, like Helmand province, where the British were, only 1% of the women can read. There are ghost schools, so millions of dollars got spent, but then they all disappeared. The US literally hired rapey warlords in order for protection. And this was in a congressional report in 2010, where they're like, okay, we're hiring these rapey warlords for protecting us, which is like, what? And it gets worse and worse. And so this is essentially saying, but of course, the impression is that it gives you the impression that somehow the US presence improved lives for women. No, it did not. Because, I mean, if you're going to put gang raping warlords who had impunity, they were the judge, jury, everything, how on earth will it improve the lives of women? And I feel like New York Times should probably have disclosed that Women for Afghan Women, the article, was with an organization funded by the State Department, because that seems like an important disclosure. But they won't. Anyways, I thought I'd go through this just so that we can kind of understand why we kind of need, I mean, this is just nonsense. But yeah, you're gonna see a lot of it. They're like, oh, women are concerned that they can't go to school, and it's like, what schools are there for them to go to? There isn't any. I mean, there's maybe 5 or 6, but not enough to be a concern. So this is like literally State Department propaganda being laundered as news, and this is disgusting. I wish I had something funnier to say to make people laugh about this, but I don't. Alas. Well,